Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at some cooling fans from Sahara Gaming. Now they're a more affordable brand on the market and have a very unique method to pairing them together. A little bit like the Lian Li Uni Fans, use a single strip at the end to command all of the rest of the fans with power and also RGB. Now they've kindly sent over a big selection of stuff, and here are the fans. So the sync cards are what we're going to use to pair onto the end of the fan to then be able to control them. We've also got some RGB strips. Now Sahara Gaming have also sent over a case that we're going to look at separately, and I'm going to do a little build in it to see what I like and what I dislike, and we'll use those RGB strips in that as well. So the Pirate Eye fans, they only offer 120mm options at the moment, but we might see some bigger ones in the future. Each fan is $14.99, but you can get combo packs. So for example, 3 fans plus the sync card for $39.99, so that does make it a little bit cheaper. The actual fan is a maximum RPM of 1500, and they have 22 digitally addressable RGB. So we've got RGB in the hub itself, and then we've also got a strip that goes along each side. So when you connect more than one, you'll have an effect that will run down the entirety of the frame itself as well as the hub. As I mentioned, these are 1500 RPM, that's a maximum of 27 decibels. Got nice rubber pads on each corner as well for anti-vibration. Looking at the sides of the fans, we've got the push pins on one side and then the pads on the other, so you can connect these either way around. So we just have to line them up, make sure they face the same way. Then you've got some little connectors that will guide into the fan. And then it's just a case of pushing it up. A little bit of a click to indicate it's nicely locked. Now, as far as I know, you can do 3 on one bank with a sync card on the end. So inside the box, you'll also get one of the cards that will be a proprietary connector. So this will be if you want to use it to the hub. So this little box is an additional item that allows you to control your fans by an actual physical button rather than doing it over by your motherboard. So you've got controls for LED speed, different modes of colors, and then also your fan speeds on there as well. There's also a cable included that goes into the control box itself, which gives you then data. So you can go either a traditional 12 volts, or there's a 5-volt addressable connector, so you can do more than just the control box itself. Also a PWM header on there as well that you can plug into your motherboard to get some better control over your fans. So once you've got as many fans as you want on a bank, you've got 2 options. You can either use the card that's included, which will then slot onto the end of the fans, with the proprietary connector, which will go into the hub that I just showed you, or you can get an additional sync card, which is in this little box here. Looks very similar, but has a few extra cables on it. So you've got 4-pin PWM, and then there's a 5-volt addressable header, and also if you want to daisy chain, you can do an additional one. So you've got 2 different options. You can either use the fan hub with the proprietary cables and then the sync cards that are included in each fan, or you've got the option for the additional sync card that's got the RGB header on the end. I really do like how well they're constructed though. There's very little flex in the frames themselves. Very well made. Obviously the blades are going to be a little bit softer, but that's because of the thinness of the actual blade itself. But I feel like I could launch one of these across the room and it would be fine. So I'm going to put these fans into a system and show you how they actually perform, as well as show you the RGB as well. I've got a little test system ready that I've already tested with some Corsair fans that come in the 4000D. I'm going to swap out these ones instead, see what kind of thermal performance we can get, and also show you the effects that are on there as well. So we're going to use 2 connected 120s in the front and then a single 120 in the back. I just don't have 3 120s in the front, I just don't have enough of them. So we're going to have to go 2 and then 1, but we can still show you the RGB and stuff. I'm going to use 1 sync card on this pair and another one on this single fan, and then we'll connect it into the hub and then show you all the different effects and things that that can do as well. So there we go. Our test system for today is a 5800X3D on an X570 motherboard. There's a TUF 3080, and the cooler is an Noctua U12A. Fan wise, I've put everything onto SATA to 4-pin splitters. So all the fans are going to run 100%, so 1500 RPM through the board. Our cooler obviously has stayed the same for the Corsair fans that I used previously, and now it's going to stay the same for the Sahara Gaming ones. Here are the fans I did use. They're just the standard 120mm fans that are included with the case. These are also 1500 RPM, that's why I chose them. So we've got full speed of all the fans that are being tested, so there's no variables. The only one thing that is changing is the weather. In the UK it's very unpredictable, so it's currently 16.1 degrees. So we're going to use Delta temperatures today, just to make it a little bit easier to understand. So our test software will be Cinebench R23. I've already done the run with the Corsair fans, and I've got a Delta temperature recorded for that. So we'll now do the same thing with these ones, just to see how they stack up. give you a little bit more of an idea of thermal performance than just showing you that RGB and stuff. So we'll now run that and then come back in a minute. So the results are in for the Sahara Gaming run. We have a high of 74.9 degrees. Now the Corsairs did a high of 72.8, but you've got to minus the temperature of the room to give us our delta. So the Corsair end result was 56.4 degrees, and then the Sahara Gaming fans gave us a temperature of 58.7. So about a degree and a half. So I'm very impressed with how well they've done. As I mentioned before, by 1500 RPM to keep it fair. Not the most scientific method, but it's the best I can do at this moment in time, because if I use my air conditioning and open the window, I'm going to be freezing my nether regions off in here. So that's give you a rough idea of what you could expect from them though. As you can see on the top camera, I have put 3 together to give you a little look at the RGB before we end out the video. So the little control box, just want to quickly say, I think the cables for the connectors on the ends of the fans should be a little bit longer, especially if you want to actually use your control box easily. So you can just see it around the back here. I've had to kind of bend it up, but I've had to rearrange the fans a little bit to be able to get the most length out of the cables to actually be able to show you this, let alone to make it functional. So a little bit of extra length I think will be helpful, maybe 30 centimeters for example. But we can now go for the different options. So we've got LED speed, mode, and then fan speed. Now I have turned the fans up to full. Like I mentioned, I did run them both at 1500 RPM for both runs. So we can now adjust this. So you have 2 settings for these. I'm not really sure what kind of range that will be running out. Feels about 1000 RPM and then 1500 going on the extra volume that you get. Now let's go through the different modes of LEDs. So first of all, we've just got the, so that's that same pattern. Now changing colours. Bit more RGB in that one. I'll just go through them all so you can have a little look. So that's back to what we started with. And we can change the speed as well. It's a bit slower. Super quick. I quite like the fast speed actually, it looks quite nice. Nice cyan. That one fills out the frame more. Both versions of that one. And we have the colour change as well. So a few different effects out of the box. I think I like the one that just cycles through the colours mostly. Not quite full speed, but 1 notch down. It's quite a nice subtle, change every now and again. So that was a little look at the Sahara Gaming Pirate Fans squeaky chair. Let me know what you think about these down in the comments box below. I do want to say though, I think for the price they are really great. Obviously you can tell by the performance that we've done that they do cool very well. And the pricing is great. I think £15 per fan or 3 packs for $39.99. If you want to get 6, that's going to be cheaper than a pack of Unifans. That's just 3. So there are a much more affordable way to do it. And just 1 little connector on the end for your power and your RGB I think is great. So much less hassle with the cables. It took me minutes to install all the fans for this test system over the other ones that would have taken a lot longer because you've got other things to plug in. So it does keep the cable clutter down nicely. So I hope you enjoyed the video guys. I'll leave the links for these in the description box below if you want to pick anything up that you've seen in the video. Thank you to Sahara Gaming for sending these out for me to look at. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss a future one. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.